The Sunny Coast Love Run was an idea hubby and I had on a family bike ride after watching all of the footage of the Australian bushfires. We just wanted to help and we felt a little helpless, so we decided to donate a truck, and within 5 days I was blown away by the generosity of the community, and we were in fact able to provide 3 truck and trailers full of brand new goods. We knew we wanted to have a direct impact on a community that had not received any aid, and I'd been in touch with Tony and Ange from Cobargo in rural New South Wales. They explained that they were in full survival mode and in desperate need of just the basics. Together we wrote a specific list of exactly what was needed, and I put a post out on social media stating that we were collecting donations for the Love Run to Cobargo. I was in contact with them on a daily basis, updating them on our collections thus far, and I chose to focus on a specific larger item each day. The local news and radio stations helped to get the word out, and the response was simply overwhelming. It was such a team effort from all involved, from people who volunteered their time packing and sorting, to others who spent hours on the phone in contact with local businesses, to those who physically donated, and even those who shared the post to help spread the message. No one sacrificed as much as my husband, Matt, who gave up 2 weeks working, surviving on 2 to 3 hours sleep a night, and backing it up with driving one of those trucks for 5 days. We had businesses who gave big ticket items such as generators, building supplies, shelving, and a full cold room full of fresh produce and beer, and half a truck filled with medical and animal supplies. The Sunny Coast community really stuck together, providing all of the basic items that Tony and Ange had specified. By day 5, we had filled the trucks with over 70 tons of supplies, wrapped safely on 98 pallets, all labelled and itemised, plus a fully stocked cold room as well as a motorhome. At 3 a.m, our convoy of 4 set out on a 3,200 kilometre round trip to Cobargo. Including a 7-hour police escort through the smoke haze landscape that had been ravaged by the bushfires. It was just levelling, seeing such death and destruction on our journey. Thanks so much to Scott and Mark for their fantastic police work, blocking roads and bridges to ensure the loads arrived safely. We then spent the next 5 hours hand unloading the trucks and trailers, with help from the RFS assisting with the fresh food from the cold room and ensuring the distribution of those perishable items amongst those who needed it.
You know, the food's amazing.
Well, there's pallets and pallets of like new clothes, new undies, new socks, and heaps of generators as well. I think we had nearly 20 new generators donated. It was a very humbling experience, and I feel so fortunate to have been able to meet some of the lovely locals and hear their stories of survival in the firestorm, such as Belinda, whose story reduced me to tears.
On New Year's Day, I didn't feel like I was ready to go back and see what was or wasn't there, but we did. And to know that Cobargo was on fire when we drove in that morning, and we live 7 k's out of town, is just like, I feel, I could almost say that I'm pretty lucky to have my family and be here talking to you. But we landed on the ground and they sent us straight to the oval. The grass was green. They assured us that was the safest place to be. And people sort of just slowly come trickling in. And, you know, Cobargo was on fire. The town was on fire. These beautiful old buildings. It just feels a bit, a bit crazy to think that that's what was actually happening. It's one of those things that you probably can't even make up in a movie, but that afternoon, you know, Alf appeared and Ange appeared, and like they were on, you know, they were so grateful to have their house, and they were like, right, we need water. People were bringing up food and just volunteers, you know. It wasn't, this wasn't, you know, we were just doing it because that's what we had to do. And then a few days later there was a generator, so we had power and we had a warm shower, and every day there was just something more and more. And then, you know, Jessie volunteered to take care and facilitate all of this, and then volunteers were coming in to sort through it, and it's sort of, it just blows your mind. And here we are on day 12, and you guys have come from the Sunshine Coast, which is just, I don't know, there's just no words for it. And I think if I was to speak on behalf of everybody else, you know, thank you doesn't seem enough, but people couldn't get to town because they didn't have fuel, or they might not have had their wallet, so they didn't have any money to go and buy the groceries. So it does, like, it means a lot, and it's, you know, it's come from so far. But the animals had to be fed also, and, you know, like I said before, we were lucky to leave home, but we do have to spare a thought for Patrick and Robert, who were our neighbours, who unfortunately lost their life in the fire, and we might have lost our home, but, you know, people have died here, and this is a really small community in the showground. They were always a huge part of the country show, and with their animals, and their whole family contributes. And I think the farmers too, knowing that it was already hard for people that had dairy farms. They're running out of water, they had no feed. Feed was, you know, so expensive, and now that's just gotten so much harder because what grass they did have is now ash. I relived it last night in my sleep, and I can't imagine what that would be like for the little people that have had to go through it, or, you know, some people that aren't able to process it. But I was back there, and I was going through the whole process of what we did that night, and we've got to talk about it. You know, I'm someone who is comfortable talking about it, but others will just internalise it, and that's where compounds and things get really bad. So, you know, I'm so grateful that Cobargo and the wider communities have come together, and we've been able to stay in Cobargo, because that was the other thing, is that the evacuation centres were so far away, and there were so many people, and what's next, I don't really know, but thanks so much. Thanks for coming. It's just, it's really nice to, you've come all the way from Queensland, and we're down in little old Cobargo, so thank you.
This is Tony, who I was first in contact with only 2 days after the fires hit.
And between the water tank and the stables, and it just came through like a wind tunnel, and just all these embers came at me when I was down there, because my hose that I was using at the time on the back of the ute got caught on the starboard, and I went to go grab it. All these embers come in, and apparently came running out covered in embers and stuff. And I went up to the house, and I had vomited and coughed up all this smoke and stuff, and then I passed out. What felt like it was forever, but it was only like 15 minutes I was out for, and then the fire sort of just went around us. And we spent 3 days preparing for it, you know, because my dad was just like, these conditions are horrid, like look at the weather, look at the fires where they are. He's like, it's going to hit us, like we need to be ready for this. And then people like yourself, like just absolute legends, just bringing things down, and
I think we all just felt a little bit helpless up there, and we just wanted to do something. And I mean, we haven't been through what you've been through. I can't imagine it.
If there's a fire, come and get out. Just don't stay. You know, like I've seen it just wasn't normal. Like there was just tornadoes in the fire, just ripping trees clean out of the ground. They just like they were nothing, right? And like the fact that we're still here, that I'm still breathing with you right now, is like just pure miracle. Like no amount of prepping would have stopped it.
You were meant to make it to get the Facebook page up, to get all the things. Without you, this would not have been possible. Without you, these trucks wouldn't be here. Without you, none of this would have happened.
Yeah, it just feels also surreal, right?
No, you're amazing. You are amazing. This is Mikey, who, like so many, literally lost everything.
The fire brigade turned up, and they said, it's coming, be ready, we'll try to be out here to defend, which they obviously couldn't, because they were overrun here in Cobargo with everything burning. And that was that was the only sort of warning we had. We knew there was a fire out there and we were under threat. But then once the fire brigade told us and said it was a firestorm, we were like, righto, we've got to get real ready.
Bushfire and a firestorm are very different.
Yeah, firestorms create their own weather pattern and everything. So, yeah.
He comes charging in, like the stables are on fire. He comes charging in on the tractor, just rips everything out of the stables that's on fire, and then we just dump water over everything that was left on the ground.
But did you have like a water supply right there? Oh, obviously
Yeah,
you were getting prepared the day before.
We had all of our water supply was all set up with sprinklers, firefighting hoses around the houses, around the house and everything. But halfway through the firestorm, all the piping melted, so we lost all water. Yeah. All we had was 2 utes with 1,000-litre drums on the back with firefighting pumps.
Goes through that quick.
And yeah, that would last 10, maybe 15 minutes, if that.
We'd be pumping straight out of the pool and into
So did you guys go and like buy those things, or do you always have fire hose on your property? Is that normal to always have
We
that,
used to always have a few things here and there, but it was only probably 4 weeks before all this happened. My dad went out and bought all new firefighting gear because he knew it was going to be a bad season, like all new hoses and everything.
Wow.
And thank God he did, because if he hadn't, it would have been a different story for us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We wouldn't be here.
No, we wouldn't, I don't reckon. Yeah, being completely engulfed in the fire I'm never doing it again, I don't think. Found my Zoe's engagement ring and I proposed to her in the ashes of the house.
You did not?
Yeah.
You bloody legend. That's
So,
the best story I've heard ever.
I was trying to find it first. But
Wait, she said yes, right?
Yeah.
Oh, congrats. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was trying to find it before she did, but she knew of the ring, but she didn't know where it was or anything. And yeah, I sort of said, look, we got to find some of this jewellery that was in the jewellery box, and it was all sort of in the same cupboard. I had it in a separate drawer.
Does she know it was there?
No, she didn't know it was
She
there.
didn't
No.
at all? No, that's good. That's so exciting.
She knew that I had a ring, but
Yeah.
she didn't know where it was.
Yeah.
And she was waiting for the day, but I was making her wait. But yeah, her and a friend found it first, so I had no choice.
And Zoe, who had no notice when the bushfires hit, she just scooped up her 18-month-old daughter and fled for their lives.
Yeah, so we were separated. We left our house on the Monday the 30th because of the bushfire danger, and I went to my mum's to stay the night, and he went out to his parents to help fight the fire out there with his family. And I think it was 5-ish, I really can't give the exact time, but around that really early morning in Cobargo, we got woken up to the neighbour coming in and just telling us to get out. And it was, so I come outside and there was just this, heat on the horizon, and you could see the flames looking up the highway from my mum's house. So I thought, the fire's, it's about to hit, we better get out. So I got her ready and I grabbed my food and my one bag I needed to grab. And we got in the car, and I hadn't realised that the fire front, there was 2, coming from different angles, had actually already hit Cobargo from the other way. So we came driving through there, and just me and her. He was still in Wandella, and I'd contacted him saying that we're getting out of there and I'll call him when I'm in Burmie. And driving through the road to Burmie, Coolaga Light, so it was all on fire as well. And it was just terrifying because we heard, we thought it was raining about half an hour beforehand, but it was obviously embers starting to, come.
That's surreal.
Yeah, terrifying. So I left my mum behind with the animals, and just got out of there with her. And on the way to Burmie, I got a text message saying, evacuate Cobargo, and that was the first kind of notification that the fire had hit Cobargo. And we got to Burmie, and we were told to shelter on the beach as best as we could as soon as we got there. So I was by myself with her at that point. My mum hadn't arrived yet. I didn't know if she was going to arrive, because I saw the fire, how close it was in town, and she left that little bit after me. I had no idea. But we were on the beach sheltering I had her under a fire blanket because she was still asleep. And we waited like that for a while, and I called Michael when I was in Burmie just to let him know we'd made it there, and he actually thought at the beginning, out of disbelief, he thought I was kind of making it up or something, because the fire had completely missed Wandella at that point in time, and that we were the ones running from the fire and he was safe at that time. So yeah, he was a bit shocked to learn that we'd had to get to Burmie and now we were sheltering in Burmie. But yeah, so that was the reality for a bit. We thought the fire was coming to us there, it didn't. But at that moment in time, we were expecting fire attacks right there on the beach. But that just went like super quick but slow when you were living it. It's really hard to explain. It's just the adrenaline. And he contacted me probably about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. I don't really know, but he contacted me to say the fire was just about to hit them in Wandella, so the wind had just done this crazy change and it was now going for them in Wandella. And then that was last I heard from him, was they're about to get the firestorm, and they were in the middle of the bush. So like here in town, we had the town type fire, like the trees are on fire, the grass is on fire, but they're in thick bush. So that was a real inferno where they were. And yeah, so that was the last contact with him at that point. And so I spent the whole New Year's Eve just alone with my Yuma. My mum found us every now and then between her car and her animals, but just alone with her, not wondering what had happened, not knowing, what had happened to him. And my instinct mainly being protect her, so it was this really kind of horrible feeling to have to forget about him, just to put all my energy into protecting her. Luckily it didn't get to us in Burmie, so we spent New Year's Eve just bunkering down, nowhere to go. No phone connections, so hadn't known what he'd been up to at that point. Very terrifying, very sleepless, right? And then the next morning I decided to head back into Cobargo at my own will. We weren't meant to, but people were just driving on the road anyway. No one knew what was going on. So I went, I've heard a rumour that my mum's house is still standing, I'm going to go see. So I drove back, and the amazing feelings, my mum's house is where I grew up, and just coming up the road and seeing her house still there, everything around it completely gone, her neighbour's houses, like her shed, the fences, but the house still there, and pulling up there, and within 10 minutes, it was like my instinct to turn up, go home. It was get out of Burmie, go home to mum's. And within 10 minutes of me turning up there, Michael had come in from Wandella on his motorbike all at the same time. He didn't know I was at my mum's. He had no idea where I was. All he last knew was I was at the beach in Burmie.
That's
but
amazing.
Yeah, he had just come into town, and he turned up at my mum's just as I'd turned up, and it was just this really amazing feeling amongst all the real trauma of seeing my mum's and then seeing him actually physically, right, instead of just a phone call.
And so how soon did you then venture back to your place to see?
So I'd say about an hour. My mum had turned up in that time.
Yeah.
She'd snuck back too, and we left Yuma with her because we didn't want to take her out there. And so we ventured out by ourselves, and the bridges had burnt, these little creek bridges to the house. We parked the car and we walked through the bush, which we should not have really done because the trees were still falling. But yeah, and we got out there and discovered all our, the house we were renting and everything we'd owned in it, and our boat, etc., all gone out there. So, that was a double blow to Mike because he'd just lost his car and his our storage, our cabin full of storage out at his parents'. So that was him seeing the house gone, was him realising he had absolutely nothing besides life left. All possessions were gone. Where at the very least, I had that thing at my mum's house, or that jacket at my mum's house that I left behind, but he had none.
Something special came out of the ashes.
Yeah, he told you.
He did.
So we went back out a couple days after that time. It was too hot to go through stuff back then that was still on fire.
Yeah.
But we went out a couple days later with a couple friends to go through some ashes.
Yeah.
So I had a bunch of jewellery and stuff, and we knew exactly where it was. And so he was handing us buckets me and my friend were outside because we didn't want to go under the building because it was not stable. So he was handing us buckets of this, ash, and we were going through it like a little sieve and water and whatnot. We found a couple of scraps of metal, and then my friend pulled out this out of the ash out of this ring. And so in the ashes of our house, just outside our bedroom, he proposed.
That's so beautiful. I love it.
I'm just so surprised it survived it. It's in perfect condition.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I polished it up with
Perfect.
some vinegar, and it's perfect.
That's awesome.
It's
Well,
amazing.
We were donated by a beautiful old couple a motorhome, and it's pretty awesome. And it was in their heart for it to go to somebody that really needed it, and I can't think of anybody more deserving than you guys. You've lost everything. You've got Bub on the way, and you've got beautiful Umi here. So if you guys want to move into the motorhome, it's yours.
Awesome.
Yep, and I'll hook you up with the owners, and you can give them a big thank. I'm just going to be the go-between, but I can't think of anyone who needs it more. So, you have been the hell of that.
Thank you.
I won't get it back.
I'm sorry my hair's a bit wet. Thank you.
This was only possible due to the team of volunteers, the kind-hearted and generous nature of so many businesses, individuals, kids. It blows my mind of what we can achieve when we work together. If you've helped. I know in my heart I will never have the words to express my gratitude to you. So thank you. Thank you for helping us really make an impact to so many people's lives and to save so many animals' lives. Thank you.